This is to talk about the design project in web writing. This project is really influenced by real-life events. Okay, major things you need to pay attention to in this project. I say this multiple times, I write this multiple times. We are a class that takes place in the real world. We're on Tumblr, which means we're active out in the community. Other people can find our posts. Other people could repost our posts. You need to use the fake company name that I've provided and the fake television show that I've provided. Beyond the titles of those two things, the genre of the television show. Is it action? Is it romance? Is it a sitcom? Is it drama? All of that you get to decide. And that's the goal of the audience analysis. So this project has multiple parts to it. But step number one, you have to use the company names that I've provided, and you need to use the television show that I provided because we take place out loud. Don't cancel a show that actually exists. Don't do it, because that's going to stick with you forever, that you were, Chicken Little saying that the sky was going to fall when it wasn't, because you were doing it for a class project. So instead of doing that, I've given you the fake information so that you're not announcing something that's not actually true. These things don't exist. When you Google them, they don't exist outside of students working on this for my class. Part number one is the audience analysis. And this is where, and it's laid out in the overview, and then there's a second sheet for it. This is where you'll decide what is the genre of the show, who's involved, who is watching the show, and then how is that going to influence the space that you're going to make these announcements on, and who's going to respond to it, and how all of that works. So this is where the critical thinking of this assignment happens. It's also where the creativity happens. So what genre are you most comfortable with? What genres do you want to talk about? And then where would that information actually live? That way you can make real decisions that really connect to the audience that you're talking about. So for instance, and I think I put this in one of the assignments, if I say that the favorite show is a kid show, it doesn't make sense to announce it on Reddit. I really hope that there aren't kids on Reddit, because we know what Reddit basically is, and we know who's there, and we know what happens there. If there's a 10-year-old in Reddit, we probably need to have a conversation. Those are the kinds of connections. Reddit's not even one of the examples, or one of the spaces that I allow you is to post in, but those are the connections and the critical thinking that I expect you to make. You need to really think through, if this is the genre of your show, where do these pieces exist and why? And that's the goal of the audience analysis. It doesn't need to be an essay, it needs to be usable to you. So quite honestly, a bullet point list or a brainstorm, and the brainstorm can be either handwritten or on some technology that works for you, is probably going to be the best, because you're going to need that information then to create the sample posts, and then you're going to need the audience analysis, the sample posts, variations of all of that to create the style guide for next week. So multiple parts to this project. The sooner you get started on it, the better, and make sure you start with the audience analysis. The next piece is then the sample posts. You're going to create fake sample posts. You want them to look like they are being posted by the company to the social media platform that you were looking for. Just Google creating fake posts in whatever you want to use, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and there are templates for the outline. And so then you can just pop in your content, or if you're using those sites, you can take a screenshot of yours, pop it into PowerPoint. I love PowerPoint for this. And you can just write over the pieces that you need, cram it all together, because PowerPoint makes that really easy, and now you've got a fake post without having to actually post. So you do not need to really post this. You're going to post it in Tumblr because we're going to peer review each other. But you don't need to go and make a Twitter account to make this happen. You don't need to make an Instagram account to make this happen. There are a lot of ways to accomplish it. Just Google it. Information literacy skills. Then all of that's going to get submitted to me, and then you're going to start working on the pivoting style guide. So the pivoting style guide is not due until week 5, so you have more time to work on it, and the top pieces need to be done before you really start on the pivoting guide. But remember, the pivoting guide is for an intern who will be posting on behalf of the company as the company. You need to write it in a way that clearly indicates that. There's information and samples and examples, and keep in mind, you have been using style guides for your entire college career here. MLA is a style guide. APA is a style guide. If you're in the sciences, there are style guides. There are ways that we communicate to get information across that the rules are all written about and the rules differ depending on the audience. MLA and APA are very different. I in English happen to use both because I'm not just focused on literature, I focus on all of this kind of writing, which can use either MLA or APA depending on the publication. I also have something coming out in Chicago. My style guide changes, which means my sentence structure changes, my citations change, the information that's valued in the parts of the sentence change and modify based on that style guide. We do this constantly. You do this from class to class. So you need to take that awareness and you need to put it into the style guide that you're creating for this assignment. If you have any questions about it, send me a note through Tumblr, send me an email, or come to office hours.